You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 8th meeting for the Long Beach Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Welcome, everyone, to the September Town Council meeting, the Town of Long Beach. Let's please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meg, could you do a roll call, please?
Sure. President Schmidt,
Here.
Anita Remages,
Here.
Kendra Bartlett,
Here.
Cindy Levy,
Here.
Colleen Lane,
Here.
Chief Swistek,
Present.
Attorney Willoughby, Clerk Collins, I am present. That concludes roll.
Thank you. I have no opening remarks. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the council meeting of August 11th, 2025.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of August 11th, 2025.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public comments. First, we'll open up to public comments, which will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any public comments in the audience? Seeing none, are there any public comments on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Police Department, Police Commission, Chief Swistek.
Good evening. For the month of August, the police department responded to 450 calls for service when compared to 395 previous year, or an increase of 55 calls for service. During the month of August, 23 incident reports were documented. A total of 15 individuals were arrested, 1 felony arrest for theft of a motor vehicle, 1 felony arrest for possession of methamphetamine and operating while never receiving a driver's license, 1 felony arrest for resisting law enforcement and driving with a suspended driver's license, 6 misdemeanor arrests for minor in possession of alcohol and possession of marijuana that was related to a large underage house party, 2 misdemeanor arrests for operating a motor vehicle with a suspended driver's license, 1 misdemeanor arrest for resisting law enforcement, 1 misdemeanor arrest for possession of marijuana, and 1 misdemeanor arrest for reckless driving. And lastly, 1 warrant arrest for operating a motor vehicle with a suspended driver's license. Nothing too major to pass along other than I would encourage everyone to continue locking their vehicles. During the month of August, we still continued to have a few vehicles that were found to be unlocked that were entered between the hours of 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. and items were taken out of the vehicles. So we encourage everyone to please lock your vehicles and do not leave any valuables inside. We are pretty confident our suspect, who has been captured on video surveillance, walks our neighborhoods and we believe may live nearby our community. So if you see anyone in your neighborhood acting suspicious after sunset, please do not hesitate to give us a call. Allow our patrol deputies the opportunity to come into your neighborhood and check to see if we can locate the individual to hopefully stop this from occurring in the future. And that is all that I have on the police department report.
Thank you. Town Administrator, Chief.
Couple of things. Our website migration with Civic Plus has been delayed at the request of Civic Plus. Originally, this was supposed to have been completed by September 1st. It looks like now we're going to be into at least the 4th quarter, if not the 1st quarter of 2026. I have not received an update from them. It sounds like their programmers are currently behind because the migration is affecting all of their municipal websites for all of their clients. So once I get a further update, I can provide that to you. Last Friday, we picked up our F-550 Ford snowplow truck. It is back at our Public Works facility. Our crew are getting it ready for the upcoming winter, and thus far they are very pleased with the new piece of equipment. As you know, it took about 18 months for us to receive this snowplow. So it was quite a bit of a delay due to the manufacturer's backlog and also the upfitters. The ADA entryway at the community center was completed on Friday. It turned out very nice. Thank you to everyone that assisted in making that happen. I know Cindy Levy, big thank you to you for working on the grant, and we should hear in the next couple of weeks as well on those funds. Tree board, we'll be working with the tree board over the next month to establish a list for the fourth quarter of this year of trees that need to be addressed in the community. Thus far, we have a small number of trees, much smaller than last year's list. I know Ellen will appreciate that. And then CCMG, tonight you have pay application 4 in front of you. Pay application 5, which we are hopeful will be the last pay application, will be before this council next month. The town hall roof repairs, the patch has been completed, and JB West is now scheduling the final work to take out the materials that were damaged from the water leak and replace those. And then lastly, we have on tonight's agenda the 2025 fall leaf collection. I just wanted to share with everyone that Tom Dolph and I, the street superintendent, have met, and he is recommending, and I would second that we consider a slight increase in 2026 to our leaf collection fees because we're starting to incur and we'll see probably an increase in the future. So just something for food for thought in the near future. Just wanted to throw that out for conversation. And that is all that I have.
There has not been an increase in quite a while.
In my 5 years, there has not been, and I think probably 3 or 4 years before that. So it's been some time since it's been increased.
Thank you. Dave, volunteer fire department.
Dave, you came dressed up for us tonight.
This is the report for January through August of this year. On the fire side, we stand at 76 calls a year to date. That's in comparison to 59 the year before. 51 of them have been in Long Beach, 23 Dunlin Beach, which would have been mutual aid assistance, and Michiana Shores, 2 calls mutual aid. In the breakdown in the month of August, we had 2 fires that actually had flame. We had 3 hazardous conditions, which were essentially all power line, down lines due to branches falling, 9 false alarms. We had 1 search for a young person, I'm not sure of the gender. And we had a watercraft rescue call for 16 calls during the month. The average turnout still stands at 8 members per call. On the medical side, we're close to last year, just 1 over 77 calls year to date, 76 in comparison to last year. 76 of the calls have been in Long Beach. 1 was a mutual aid to assist Michiana Shores. The call breakdown, we had 1 personal injury. We had 3 sick person calls, and then we had a lift assist for a total of 5 calls. Turnout per medical call still stands at 5 per call, 5 members per call. Our response time is 4.27 on the fire side and 4.47 on the medical. Year to date, members of the fire department have donated 2,200 hours to the town. I went back and looked at our training. On August 11th, we did a water rescue with the police. And then we had a medical training for altered mental state. And it was, from my perspective, is beneficial. I brought things here just so you have perspective. Like a picture says about to watch this old man put clothes on. Right now, if you look at this, and see, I have a special room because just in case I get lost, they'll know where I am. Just this personal gear, food, pants, coat, helmet. $5,000 for a member.
And what does it weigh? Do you know?
You know
Okay.
what? Actually, I
Thank
thought
you.
we had weighed it at one point, but it's heavy. But it's insulated, it's probably, this technology probably gets you too close to fires because it's so good and protected. This is an SCBA. I'm not gonna put it on because I will hurt myself. This is what we wear on our back with the mask. These are new. We were able to do a grant for new units. And these are called high pressure bottles. Old bottles had 2,200 PSI capability. These, I believe, are rated at 4,100. Essentially, as normal breathing as you can have, you can probably be inside a structure for 45 minutes. In today's house building technology, that time is much shorter than it used to be with traditional stick-built houses. And then the other item is our portal. And this is an 800 megahertz radio. And basically you can almost talk to anywhere in the world. This is approximately 3,500 due to Mark. They were Motorola, which is well-known in the fire service. They were coming out with a new model priced at what, 10? You did some research and you sent an email out to the county. What was your number for a new one?
We just purchased a new portable at $2,100 and the Motorola was approximately $9,700. On the fire service side though, because your radios have to have the heat resistant and the water resistance, some of those radios were upwards of $13,000 to $14,000 per portable.
Motorola.
Correct.
What are they with,
The Kenwood, I think they were $3,000 or $4,000, much less expensive than the Motorola. And we're also, while we're on this topic, looking at Harris Communications. So the 911 board for the county is also vetting Harris Communications so that we have competitive prices from Kenwood, Harris, and Motorola are the three major first responder communication vendors. So we're going to be looking at all three of them as a 911 board, and then we'll disseminate that information to all the LaPorte County first responders.
so all those numbers that I came up with, what is the total for approximately 20 members? We have 25. What do you think the total is? If you added up my numbers? If you guess the right number per member, you get a prize. I'll say $16,000 per member. So you still get a prize.
0.6 million, right?
425,000.
Yes.
Oh, per member.
No.
Oh,
16,000 just for me
Times
to
20.
get here.
425,000.
460,000.
It's a lot of money.
Thanks, Dave.
Zeros.
Thank you.
460.
So
So-
that includes my.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Present.
With another gift.
So those how do you, where are those radios attached when you're at a fire or something? Because you can't just hold them.
No,
Oh,
on my coat, there's a radio pocket here.
and that's able to just
Yes,
pick up.
some you can put it inside the coat, then you have a wireless mic.
Okay.
Where the difficult part is, when you have a mask on and you're trying to commute to the in charge person, it's horrible to try to understand. That technology has not been proven.
And then is this gear like 12 months a year? There's not like a summer.
So we're waiting. No, this is it. So when you have 100-degree days, this is what we have to wear. We had one call for a brush fire back in Moon Valley many years ago. And we had 2 members go down. To the point where it was exhaustion, and we had to have Woodruff and Sons bring in their front end loader. One of them was your father. So it's wonderful gear to protect you, but it is cumbersome also. So
And when you get a call that comes in, you all come to the public safety building now to get your gear, correct?
we Okay, I don't have to educate you. I want to.
They can have mine.
What we now have at the station, Lita,
Yes.
when those go off, whoever officer is closest to the call will go to the scene to size up, see what we have.
Right.
It could be a false call, it could be slow vehicles down, or they're already pre-planning and saying, where are we going to get the water from? But everyone else comes to get the equipment, and we now have a gear room
Right.
where everyone dons their gear and then they hop in the truck. So
So that first person will call and say, get your gear on.
right, and that person with the radio stops the clock. Once the 911 call goes out, a clock starts tick, tick, until we arrive on scene, and that's that first officer. It doesn't have to be an officer, it could be anybody with a radio, and relay what's going on, and then that's in our response time, how it's calculated. So it's amazing what the cost of things are. And when I first heard about this increase in radios, I thought, this is ridiculous, because we have 20 radios, and to have $250,000 in radios. But Mr. Mark did some research to work for me.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
The Fire Commission did not meet, but we've got a new category on our list tonight. Northern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. Colleen.
NERC met on August 21st at 9 a.m. 2 technical resolutions were passed. One was to update the structure of the NERC committees, divided them into the Leadership Committee, the Transportation Committee, the Economy and Place Committee, and the Environment Committee. And also that technical resolution also there is language that enables the public to engage with regional planning a little bit more. There was another technical resolution that added a financial plan to NERC's long-range transportation plan, which is called NWI 2050 Plus. There was a resolution that was passed that divides transportation projects into 3 types: air quality exempt, air quality non-exempt, and transit. Each project type is reviewed differently by the Indiana Department of Transportation, the Federal Highway Administration, and the Federal Transit Administration. So dividing them will allow each to be approved and funded quickly and efficiently. There were 2 non-transportation topics that were brought up by some of the reps that were in attendance. One was the arrival of armadillos in our area that as a traffic hazard, which I thought was kind of interesting. Apparently, like, they jump. Like, I was like shocked that this was a topic of discussion. Apparently, armadillos are here and they're kind of a hazard on the road because they jump high. it was very interesting to hear about. And then I feel like my face is red after saying that. And then the other thing that was discussed, the representative from Beverly Shores brought up some new legislation regarding some property taxes for this second homeowners property taxes, that the effect that their property taxes are going to have in the next couple of years on small communities like Beverly Shores, Long Beach, and Ogden Dunes. But I believe that we're going to get into that a little bit later. So that was a big topic of discussion as well. So that was pretty much it for the NERC meeting.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. Public Works, Kendra.
We did not meet.
Stormwater Board, Cindy.
We met on Monday, August 25th. We reviewed fund projection and we reviewed some of the stormwater ordinances, and we're going to have to make some small tweaks in them, including the council appointed terms of the members, so that they'll be staggered. And we also propose quarterly meetings going forward unless there's any urgent business that comes up.
Thank you. Park Board, Kendra.
I know Paul Walczak's on, so Paul, I'll give the report, but if there's anything I missed, just unmute yourself and then chime in when I'm done.
Yep, go ahead. I'm driving, so thank you.
Oh, okay. Be safe. The Beach Garden Club, Janice Brown resigned as of July. She's a huge asset, so that's sad news, but I'm sure good reasons. And Mary Beth Rebedu is now going to lead the group. She's also a master gardener, so I'm sure things will still be in good hands. So just, of course, all the best to Janice. She's hopefully will still stay involved with stuff because she's a great resource. So I wanted to update that. Possibly looking at increasing the camp rates for the next year, just putting together different spreadsheets and running some numbers. So they're looking at that. And landscaping at Stop 29 is still ongoing, having a few more quotes coming in for that. Probably the big news is the park board is hosting 3 community-wide meetings in addition to the regular monthly meetings to gain insight and give information to people in regards to upgrading the pickleball courts and the tennis courts and other plans that hopefully can be done depending on what the town decides and things like that. So they've already held 2 meetings. There's one more to come, which is tomorrow here in this room at 6:00. And you can also join online. And I'd encourage everybody to go either in person or join online. You can join the meeting and do your comments online. They'll be recorded. You can, give your input that way. And then they're going to keep track of all the input, give their own input, make some recommendations, and then maybe come up with a conceptual plan and take it from there. So it's just the first of many, many steps in a process. So right now it's just gathering information. So the regular meeting in September is the 23rd. And then tomorrow at 6:00 is dedicated specifically to the improvements to the park across the street. And I think that's it.
Thank you. I would just like to commend the park board on their presentation. They did a really good job on that. So,
Yeah, Paul, good job.
yeah, thanks, you guys. Community Center, Anita.
Community Center did not meet September 1st, and Chief Swistek covered what's been happening over at the Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance, Meg.
We met on September 2nd and August bank recs are completed. Cash allocations, revenue expenses, and fund projections were emailed to council and department heads this afternoon. The capital plan will be updated this week. I'm still working on that, and distributed to the committee, the town council, and department heads. Senator Dalton is going to begin financing for the fire truck that it will be delivered this October. So we'd been waiting for a date and have received that. The budget was entered into Gateway, and the first reading is later this evening on the agenda. The second reading will be at the October 13th council meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 7th at 11 a.m.
Although also later on the agenda, we'll be scheduling a town council workshop to explain a few items relative to SB1 legislation that Colleen was alluding to, and to discuss the 2026 salary ordinance, as well as discuss the ongoing water rate study. So we will schedule this workshop prior to the October council meeting. So our date of our next budget meeting may change depending on how that shakes out. Thanks. Any questions?
Thanks, Meg. Human Resources, Cindy?
We did not meet, and we will be meeting Monday, September 15th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Ellen, Tree Board?
We, the Park Board, met this last Wednesday. It was a short meeting anyway, and Chief already alluded to the fact that we're setting up a whole, the whole list of trees to be taken down, kind of stuck on this fall thing, because it's the best thing for the trees. We also talked about our new agendas that we were given to by Miss Meg here, and the fact that we have to have minutes, and we will do that. So, and then we also, thank you very much to Tom and Chief and everyone for getting all the clear sight lines on all the corners done. He finished that long list. We now have a shorter list. So, but that's really made a difference. So, and then and we talked about topics to get into the fall newsletter for Kayla, and that's it. That's all we talked about.
Thank you.
27 minutes long. So, thank you. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The Building Commission will meet this Friday at 1 p.m. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on 8/13. 3013 Loma Portal was moved to a public hearing in September for storing a boat in the side yard. And 2520 Shorewood Yellow Bear Farms, the BZA recommended to the Building Commission that they do not need a variance, but they are moving forward with their public hearing just in case the Building Commission denies the permit. Building revenue report, Meg?
Hey, what about me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Anita. Advisory Plan Commission.
Advisory Plan Commission continues to work with McKenna regarding survey questions for the update to the 2016 comprehensive plan update. And our September meeting will be September 15th.
Thank you. Building revenue report, Meg?
For August, there were 22 permits approved totaling $528,403 with revenue of $7,491.80. There were 3 electric permits issued for $936 and 3 street cut permits with revenues of $300. Legal expenses paid in August to Bragy, Nelson and Janes were $4,312.50. Accounting expenses paid to Senator Dalton were $3,771.95. And I would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business, our committee openings. We've got 1 vacancy on Budget and Finance with a possible applicant, but we just got that one in today, so I would like Meg to meet with that person. Meg did talk to a John Nielsen. She was very impressed with, and this is a presidential appointment. So I am going to be appointing John Nielsen to the Budget and Finance Committee. And we had a good applicant for our Building Commission. His name is Neil French. And I think everybody, the Building Commission is a council appointment. Did everyone see his information?
Yes.
Okay. I would make a motion.
Can I just ask a question? Has, the like I know Bob LeMay's been out of town and stuff. Has the other building commission, I know you're on the building commission, have they weighed in? Has Larry weighed in? Have they met?
I
Neil?
said, they all got it. No one responded.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I can say. So I would make a motion to appoint Neil French. He's very qualified to the building commission.
I would second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Lakeshore Sewer LLC. Not sure we're ready for this, but
You get names and addresses and stuff to Deanne. Did you want me to do it for the new appointments? But never mind. I'll talk.
Good evening.
good evening.
Back again. Give you an update and hopefully we can move this project forward tonight. I know at our last meeting that we were able to attend, there were several items that wanted us to address. By the way, I'm Michael Bergerson. I'm here on behalf of Lakeshore Sewer LLC, an attorney here in town, and represented LLC for several years now while this process has been ongoing from the Michigan City Sanitary District, where approval was gotten, the Michigan City Common Council, again, where unanimous approval was given to this project, to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, which has also given approvals to this project and extended their permits for this project to be built. Just to recap, again, the LLC is a group of Long Beach residents who own property along Lakeshore Drive. They have proposed to fund and build at their cost, at no cost to the town, a private sewer, which ultimately they would dedicate to the Michigan City Sanitary District, which has agreed to take that sewer over, which is an accomplishment in and of itself that this would happen, because they really are not in the low gravity force main business. They like gravity sewers. But in any event, they have agreed to take this sewer over once completed and make it a part of the sanitary district system of Michigan City. And I know that this council had some questions related to potential expansion of that sewer system and asked for us to get some information related to that. First of all, we have addressed one issue with respect to Haas and Associates, the engineers for us for this project, and I'm sure you're familiar with Haas and Associates, and they provided a letter to the town board dated September 5th of this year, addressing the capacity issue or any capacity issue related to additional people who may want to, in the future, tap into this low gravity force main system. And if I could just read the letter into the record for the purposes of other people who may be in the community who are interested, it's addressed to the board president, Ms. Schmidt, and stating that this letter is being sent on behalf of Lakeshore Sewer LLC to confirm that the proposed 3-inch diameter pressure sewer on Lakeshore Drive and Chastleton Drive has sufficient hydraulic capacity for connection of 11 single-family homes on Lakeshore Drive and an additional 30 single-family homes along the route of the pressure sewer on Chastleton Drive. All additional proposed connections will require approvals from review agencies and regulators, including Michigan City Council, Michigan City Sanitary District, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and Lakeshore Sewer. The type of pump proposed to be used for this connection shall also require approval of the owner of the sewer system. The design connection requires a single-stage 2 horsepower grind pump, recommended to be an omnivore model, manufactured by Liberty Pumps or equal. This grinder pump station should include the largest available wet well chamber to temporarily store wastewater flow during periods of power outage. We trust this letter has clearly presented the capacity and system requirements regarding the proposed 3-inch pressure sewer on Lakeshore Drive on Chastleton Drive. Please advise if you have any questions or comments. Signed, James Maurer, Senior Project Manager. He didn't include, but obviously it's an obvious requirement that any additional user would have to come in front of the town council to get approval to join in the system. The other item mentioned at the last meeting was with the Michigan City Sanitary District, wanting questions answered related to capacity for this system as well as additional homeowners along Chastleton corridor. The timing of their next meeting had just occurred. Well, the last meeting in their meeting in August didn't happen because they had quorum issues. In any event, Mr. Wojcik and I and members of the LLC were able to meet with the attorney for Michigan City Sanitary District, as well as the newly appointed Director of Public Works for the city of Michigan City. Had a very good discussion. And the takeaway from that discussion was that number one, yes, they will have the capacity because they're building this lake station renovation project along Highway 12. They're not willing to guarantee, because there's no application in the works at this particular point in time, additional users. It's and they really are saying that, you know, given development in Michigan City, they can't even, you know, tell us that they're going to reserve capacity for these 30 homes. It's just, it's so speculative. Number one, there's nobody that we know of that, other than a person at Stop 18, that would like to extend the sewer. We've had other inquiries, but there's no one currently that's either willing to file a petition in front of the district, willing to file the appropriate paperwork in front of the Common Council or this board that would, I think from their perspective, it's so speculative. They'll take it up, they said, when it comes before them, ultimately. And I think that's appropriate because they're not in the business of making projections and promises for projects that may never come to light. It doesn't make any sense. From our perspective, we've answered some questions. I know Mr. Willoughby had some additional questions that we got today or yesterday, I think, related maybe the health department issues. I don't know that there are any issues. I don't even know if they have any jurisdiction in this particular case. What?
I don't think any questions are new. I responded to a copy of a resolution I received last week, which is proposed. However, when this whole process started, as late, I guess as early, depending on how we define it, that the whole point of having these discussions is to have a private sewer agreement.
Yes, we do have that private sewer agreement with the city.
I understand that.
Yes.
But you're also going to have an agreement. That was the whole reason Mr. Wojcik started this discussion early spring, of having these bullet point discussions so that we reduce the private sewer agreement. For instance, who's liable? Who's going to personally guarantee the construction? All of those points that we talked about and we've met several times now about.
I think we've addressed that issue.
We've addressed the points.
Yes.
Where's the agreement? We have to have an agreement. We talked about recording that against each person's property so that each person, if there's a successor in interest, and just because you have sanitary, for instance, the sanitary district really doesn't care. I'm speculating here, but I presume they're not real interested in having a whole bunch of properties from Long Beach tap into their system with pending litigation. For instance, the the sanitary district really doesn't care what the town of Long Beach does. And in return, the town of Long Beach really doesn't care what the requirements of the district are. We want to make sure that the points and the concerns as communicated in our first meeting right at this table and subsequent meetings with you at the public safety building and the points sent back and forth between Mr. Wojcik and I are reduced to the private sewer agreement. In addition, I understand this resolution that's been proposed, but that to me is the end of the process. But we've been having all of these discussions and maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I understood that we were going to reduce this to a private sewer.
Between
agreement.
whom? I mean,
Between the LLC and
and,
the town of Long Beach.
okay, so
I'd encourage you to speak to your co-counsel. We've had this discussion. I mean, I have detailed notes and communications to that effect, which is why I mentioned that last week I haven't seen that reduced to writing. It's the reason we're addressing all of these questions to satisfaction to take out some of those conversation points.
I think we've not only since the meeting in the safety building and our subsequent public meeting have acknowledged that you want personal guarantees, which is
Where are they? We're supposed to take their word?
no, I think it's in the, I know, for instance, it's in the resolution.
Are they a party to that resolution? They're not. This is the resolution you want the town to authorize them to move forward.
And it's addressed in that resolution. That the
They're gonna pay for all costs and
All
accept
costs.
assignment of
I
ownership.
mean, I don't know, I don't know, I guess I just don't know.
Well, maybe your co-counsel can help you out. I mean, maybe I'm missing something here on the agreement. We've discussed this at length.
And we've said we're willing to do that at length over the course of the last several months. I don't know what else.
Well, where's the agreement for us to review and make sure that all the points that we've now discussed? I'm not being standoffish and listen, I defer, I work for the council. So they're prepared to consider this resolution. But in our discussions and passing along your communications as well as the resolution, and I copied them on communications to you, we don't have anything from the district that says capacity, right? That we think that they might, but they may not, right?
Well, they're not going to reserve the capacity
Of course they're not.
for someone that may or may not ever
Right.
come into the sewer system.
But for instance, as an alternative, the council's main concern is that 41 houses potentially could hook up to the system, right? And so the system, in addition to, according to Haas, being designed for 41, could be approved for 41 so that we don't have to go through 30 more processes or petitions and signing these ridiculous agreements with Michigan City Town Council that says we're not going to remonstrate against annexation in the future. And that's not your fault. I'm just saying those are things that they require. So alternatively, that could have been done, right? And it wasn't. So now we have the agreement that we do. The town has their concerns, which have been communicated. And again, to be reduced to an agreement. Something as simple but very important as to taking
What
responsibility.
would be the other terms other than the personal guarantee? If you'd let me know.
I've sent them. I am not going to regurgitate. I mean, we sat at this table with Mr. Woodruff and principals of the LLC and council. And then we met with you at the public safety building and we went over the points again to delve out what was going to be in the private sewer agreement. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Wojcik. Please make sure you identify yourself too.
We have to go to the podium or they can't hear.
It's my understanding, from receiving this email this morning, that these were issues that you wanted to include in the private sewer agreement. You're going to have a private sewer agreement and you're going to have a resolution. So what I'm And some of these issues that came up this summer, like you said, were the personal guarantees, were a bond, those types of things. So until I read your email this morning, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you want a private sewer agreement in addition to a resolution.
Well, the resolution was something that just got sent last week, and we didn't see that until maybe the previous month when it got sent to the district and said this is what the town's proposing. But let me be clear. I'm looking at correspondence from you, January 31st of 2025, and in part says, I felt like the meeting was very productive in airing possible issues that need to be addressed as part of the terms of the private sewer agreement. So the concept isn't new. We were always working towards the agreement. The resolution is the green flag, right? Let's move forward. The private sewer agreement is what the town wants to make sure that it's public and that everything is done as it's supposed to, and that the private individuals are on the hook and not just the members of the I mean, none of these are new. So I apologize if I've contributed to confusion, but I must admit I'm lost because this agreement has been the thing the whole time.
Okay.
What other things that are in the resolution are you looking for? Other than, we've got a list of things that we've addressed.
You've addressed them.
Other than putting, say, at the top of the heading, instead of resolution, agreement with signature lines from the LLC members, what other, I guess I'm at a loss to see what other points.
Well, Mr. Wojcik has the exhaustive list
So
that we sent, and then we had discussions, and there were some more points that they're all in that list.
okay.
The things that we didn't have answers is what my understanding is you've been doing the last few months, is chasing down those answers to those other, we still don't have an issue to the jurisdictional, I mean, under the Indiana code. It might be that the health department can mandate people to hook up.
So from your email this morning, because that's what I'm trying to,
Sure.
okay, point number 1, private sewer capacity, letter confirming the system's designed, okay. You asked, no, there's been no representations about the Michigan City Sanitary District capacity.
That's right.
So
Because they're not, let's be clear, you've addressed all of those concerns, and the net response that you've given regarding the district is it's too speculative, they're not going to do anything. Well, I'm pretty sure they're not going to let anybody connect anyway with pending litigation, but that's a side point. Those are the last, I would encourage you to go back to hold on one second. I'd encourage you to go back to the July meeting. I watched it today. It was very clear on the 4 points that we wanted to have addressed, but you address those to satisfaction of what we do or don't need to put in the agreement. But there's a private sewer agreement, right? I mean, that's what we're working towards. Do you think we don't need an agreement?
But, okay.
You think a one-sided resolution passed by, I'm asking. So we started off as early as January of 25 talking about this agreement, and now you have a resolution that you want the council to pass that says, go ahead. But we're not going to let anybody else hook in unless they come to the council. Right? I mean, that's essentially what it says. They're going to pay for it. District takes it over. You get to use our city our town right of way.
Okay.
So even in there, where's the personal guarantee that they're going to damage to other properties or any faulty work or a bond or paying for making sure engineering is in place?
Specifically in that document that
It says it in our whereas paragraph as proposed by you. It doesn't say they're taking responsibility. I'm just pointing back to the agreement. Nothing puts your representative individually or his LLC on the hook for anything.
Okay, writing in, you want to know the capacity of the Michigan City Sanitary District?
No, I don't want to know anything else. That point is, you guys have made, you brought back that point, for instance. I was just summarizing what has been communicated based on those 4 points that were brought up at July, right? So for Judge Bergerson's point of view, those were the last 4 things to get some information, right? And if we have some feedback to those, then what are we ready to do? In my mind, and maybe I'm ignorant, then we're reducing it to the writing for the agreement.
Second, I believe that you were going to approve, whether it be an agreement or a resolution, subject to ultimately this, any, whether you call it a private sewer agreement.
I'm using Mr. Wojcik's words. That's what we've been
Again,
working
from our
on.
perspective, a resolution that allows us to move this project forward, subject to the terms of, I guess.
Well, a resolution, that resolution is one-sided. There's no commitment at all from your clients with a resolution. That's the town saying, go ahead, do your project without any ramifications, without any requirements. I mean, that resolution is a one-sided thing that the district wants to see.
They're not even requiring it, really.
Yeah, so that confuses me even more. Like I said, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I've missed something, but I'm looking at what the reason we were having our meetings and discussions and correspondence and communication was to reduce down to a private sewer agreement. In fact, some of our early meetings saying, well, you've done this for others. Mr. Jacksa. I mean, we've had the verbatim conversation about a private sewer agreement and the terms under which that would be allowed. So, I mean, that's where I'm confused, but I defer to the council.
One of the things, Mr. Willoughby, and we had a telephone conversation a few days ago. I don't remember that the term agreement was
Which is why
raised.
It absolutely was raised because I said, I haven't seen the agreement. And your response was, what agreement?
That's where I guess the where the resolution came out of. That then, okay, fine. I said, I'll draft the resolution.
But by definition, the resolution is an agreement. Where is your client on the hook that if somehow they start digging along the right of way and they damage somebody's house or their septic system along Castleton, where are they on the hook? That was one of the main, I mean, I'm just harping on that. There are other points, but I'm harping on that because that was one of Mrs. Bartlett's major points is what if something happens here? We're always left holding the bag and we don't want to hold the bag. And so I'm using that as a point of emphasis because that was such a point of emphasis. I mean, am I misunderstanding that you intended to have a written agreement? I don't mean to pit you two against each other, but I don't know what I'm missing here.
There's an agreement that's, I guess the confusion came with the resolution versus the agreement, but there was supposed to be an agreement that set forth issues like personal guarantees and, some of the other topics that I don't have all my emails, but yes, I'm not going to, there should be.
Yeah, and I'm saying
But what you have is you have the resolution and you have the agreement. And the email this morning caused some confusion as far as, I think, some of these points.
Well, let me be clear to the extent you're confused. That email was really only meant to respond to, I don't know what the heck the resolution was or where that came about. I understand that now, but it was really only to summarize the status of the 4 points that were discussed in July.
So what the resolution and the way I envisioned it was that the resolution would be subject to the sewer agreement. So what comes first, the resolution or the sewer agreement?
Well, I would say that you're not going to get a green light unless you have your license first, right?
So what I'm hearing.
That's my recommendation. So let's be clear. The council, I work for them. They're the decision makers. I do not recommend that they give you the green light through a resolution that says you can do the work until there's agreement in place that has and addresses all the points that we have, right? You have to have the license and the nuts and bolts of everything in place before you get the green light to move forward with construction, no?
Well, construction wouldn't begin until we satisfied you because you wouldn't give us a building permit.
Well, the resolution doesn't say that.
Well, that's
the resolution says you get to move forward.
So what you're saying is I submit the agreement, private sewer agreement, and then that.
I think all those get done together, right? Yeah. And or that would be sufficient to allow that. and any license that needs to go along with that.
When you say other license, I mean,
Meaning, it was,
what does that mean?
I am just merely talking about their permission to use the right of way, which will come from that agreement.
To be continued.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, to the extent if I've created, but I'm clearly, there's a disconnect here on what the goal, what we've been having these meetings for. Like I said, I
Yeah.
defer to the council, so.
I'm in agreement with Chris. I'm just going to add one thing so it's on the record, so no one says you never said this before, but Chris already brought up my main points, but also I am not in favor of the agreement at all that has the wording that the people who hook up give up their right to remonstrate against annexation with Michigan City. And I didn't like it when it was 5 homes, but now that it could be 41, that sticking point just gets even stickier. So giving up that right and somehow being annexed, or those people.
Voluntary, people who would be tapping in, and again, it's so speculative, whether it's a year, 5 years, whatever, it's so speculative, but it is voluntary. Those people who own their property, if they would want to, as opposed to building a septic system that may last another 10 or 15 or 20 years, hook up into this low pressure gravity system, they're the ones that are making that decision to waive annexation in the future.
And it's twofold. So just to make sure that it's not construed at all as if it's the attorneys or the LLCs, it's Michigan City's requirement, and that actually mirrors Indiana code. So it makes them put in. I understand, and that's why there's a two-pronged system too, because anybody who would want to hook in the future will have to do what they did, which is go before the district, go before the council, and come before you. So that part, but it is in the Indiana code as well as Michigan City code.
Yeah. Which
We may not
doesn't,
like it, but that's the law.
well, I don't have to vote for it. And I don't, and nobody on this town council has to say, we're going to go ahead and let 45 people and maybe 55, 65, just because it's good for them and they want the sewer hookup for the 5 or 10 years they live here and then to leave. We are not going to give up the rights of Long Beach and be annexed by Michigan City. So when you sit there, it is voluntary, but we make the decision how we want the town to move forward. And that is a big liability to put out there. We're going to put in the sewer and you 45 people. And now all you other people, all of a sudden we got 150. And so, yeah, it's voluntary for us to decide. And the personal guarantees of the homeowners tied back to that's a huge sticking point too. And none of those Chris, he already said that, but that's a main huge part.
Thought we addressed it, but we'll address that again.
Okay, I agree that we need an agreement, excuse me. And I would point out that your resolution refers to a 4-inch pipe, not a 3-inch pipe.
You know what? I thought that you had mentioned 4 inches at the meeting.
Okay,
When I had asked Jim Mauer
Mhm.
and Tim Haas for description, they told me at that point it was a 3-inch gravity sewer. But I think if you look at the meeting minutes, you had talked about a 4-inch.
Well, and I think the reason is because there's a strong belief that 4 inches is required, but Haas has given their certification, and so they're putting their name behind that. So whether that is or isn't sufficient, that's on them. But that's the difference between the 3 and the 4, which is all that was asked for, is them to certify that it could handle it.
even if it, well, I don't want to speculate, even if it did. Next month,
next month.
put us on the agenda.
And there are some typos in the resolution if
I'm
you
sure there probably are.
want to check that out.
We'll check into it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Town signs, Kendra, Cindy, or both?
I don't think we have any update. Hopefully Meg was going to look at, put it into the budget for the reading, but there's no other update on pricing or quotes or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Proposal from Flock Safety LPR license plate reader. Chief?
Madam President, your August meeting, you were presented a proposal along with a detailed email outlining the police department's suggestion of putting in 4 license plate reader cameras at 4 entry points into the town of Long Beach. At the conclusion of last month's meeting, we took the opportunity to also post information to our town's website relevant to this proposal. And to date, we have received 1 negative email, which was received today. It was shared with all town council members. We received nothing in writing in support of it. I've had several community members that have personally spoke to me in person in favor of this. I will share with you in the email you received last month, the detection of wanted vehicles. Last week, midweek, LaPorte County was alerted through the Flock public safety camera system that a stolen motor vehicle from Minnesota had entered LaPorte County. Our officer who was on duty at the time was Corporal Matthew Farthing. Through the use of his in-car mobile computer system, he began to track the movement of this vehicle. He was able to locate the vehicle on Highway 12, heading east, passing Carwick, and subsequently he was able to capture and stop the vehicle on US 212 near Tryon Road at the gas station. About 9 police units showed up. It was determined during the investigation that a young teenager had stolen the vehicle from a gas station in Minnesota. He was on his way to South Bend, and due to the use of a Flock camera system, we were able to take this runaway juvenile teen into custody and recover the stolen motor vehicle. Just yesterday, one of our nearby communities had a critical incident. During that critical incident, a vehicle description was entered into the Flock public safety camera system, and within a short period of time later, they were able to locate the vehicle and subsequently take an individual to detain him for questioning in reference to that earlier incident. So that's just 2 cases in the last week where the Flock cameras are very successful. I personally see it as a 24/7 surveillance system for the town. More or less tells us who's coming and going, the dates and times. Yes, that was one of the negative comments that we received today, is that the resident felt that there's too much information that's being captured of your vehicle movement, where you're going, where you're coming from, but that's only subsequent to when you pass these locations. I personally find it a benefit for our community. If we were to have a major incident and this camera system was able to capture the license plate or vehicle description, it would assist us in our investigation in being much more successful and much more quickly apprehended. The $12,000 price tag annually for these cameras, after speaking to Clerk Collins, would come from the public safety lit tax. I know there is some conversation that in 2028, that public safety lit tax, the majority of it could disappear. If that is in fact the case, this is a year-to-year contract. The proposal before you now is a 12-month contract for $12,000, which is $3,000 per camera for the total of $12,000, and they are waiving the $650 per location for installation is being waived at this time. We would have to insure the cameras with our property insurance in case of theft or damage to the cameras. That is not covered as part of the agreement with Flock Safety. So it is my recommendation to the council that we at least enter into the 1-year agreement, which would commence January 1st of 2026, concluding December 31st of 2026. The police department will have to draft a policy for the retention and use of these cameras, which would be presented to the council and approved by you prior to the start of the contract. And I would open it up for any questions that anyone may have.
Chief, what happens to the data where is it stored and what happens to it?
The data is managed and stored by Flock Safety. We have access to it at a determined amount of time. Most police departments are going on a 30-day retention cycle. I would recommend that at a minimum, no more than 45 days. Typically, if we're working an active investigation, the information is pertinent to us in the first usually 72 hours. So after that, I can't answer what Flock Public Safety does with it, but I know that the sharing of it has to be approved by our agency, police department. If we want to share our information with the surrounding police agency, we have to give the other agencies authorization. For example, the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department and the Michigan City Police Department currently have Flock, and they share their information with us. So they've permitted us access to their stored data. And we would do the same. We would share with the surrounding law enforcement agencies.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
You said that you would prepare an agreement on what you would use it for. I'm sorry,
Departmental policy,
Departmental
like
policy.
a standard operating policy for the department, giving clear directives to our staff for the use of the system, allowing Flock Safety the permission to store the data for a determined number of days, and then outlining our procedures and use of the system as an investigative tool to our public safety initiatives.
So outside agencies can, so if it's stored for 45 days, outside agencies can come in after the 45 days and request.
No, it's my
That's
understanding after the retention period that would then be wiped from the system, no different with your home security system. If Comcast tells you it's saved for 7 days and on day 10 you try to recover it, more than likely it's been wiped from the system and recorded over. So
that was one of my concerns last month in one of the towns that was mentioned in the letter, that it was being used for immigration purposes. And that was one of the reasons why the town, it's a sanctuary city. And that's one of the reasons why they deactivated the cameras. And so that's why I want to be clear that we're doing what we can to use it for specific purposes and that it wouldn't
correct. Yeah, this
available. And our town is certainly different.
Right, and we would have to give authorization to share with another agency, and we have no intention to utilize this for immigration and customs enforcement. This is solely to help us apprehend stolen vehicles, wanted individuals, and to store data for any future investigative needs where a vehicle may commit a crime in our community, flees our community, and then we're hopeful to, ascertain the plate number on the vehicle to assist us with our investigation.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the Flock Safety quote.
I would second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to new business, Healy's Landscaping proposal for 2025 fall leaf pickup.
I apologize for an interruption, but when I read online, it said we could make comments on this topic.
Tony Lasuso, and he is saying he read online, he can make comments. But
No.
the comments are at the beginning.
The comments are at the beginning.
Yeah, but it specifically says in on your webpage, when you go to the announcement about the cameras, please come and you can make comments or put things in writing. I did not recognize that I should make comments at the beginning. I thought that was for general. I thought this was an open forum for public discourse. If that's not the case, I withdraw my request, but I would hope that you would allow us to speak on this, given some of the constitutional issues.
It does indicate on there that it says, we want to hear from you and keep you informed. Your feedback can be shared in person on September or by emailing the.
Right,
Okay.
and then it says we'll hear public comments and we'll vote on the proposal. And we did receive your email today, and it was distributed to the council.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not allowed to.
It's at the beginning of the letter or at the beginning of the meeting.
I thought this was the public hearing. I thought this was a public hearing on the LPR cameras. I apologize for interrupting, but I still want to voice my opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Healy's Landscaping proposal for 2025 fall leaf pickup.
Before you, the proposal from Healy's Landscaping is for 5 weeks of leaf pickup here in the town of Long Beach, $10,000 per week for a total of $50,000. This is the same as previous years. This proposal has not increased for at least the last 5 years. And it is the recommendation of the street superintendent, Thomas Dolph, that the council approve the quote and continue the annual services with Healy's Landscaping.
I'll make that recommendation to approve the quote from Healy's for 2025 fall pickup.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excuse me, thank you. Now we're going to have to open a public hearing.
Yes.
What did you say? Sorry, the next item, the budget, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this is the first reading of the budget for the year 2026, next year. And the budget estimates were entered into Gateway, and the budget was noticed through Gateway on August 28th, which was prior to the deadline. I do want to note, and Budget and Finance, we had Trista, our advisor, attend, and she kind of discussed many items with us. Her and I called LaPorte County following up with the realization that our assessed values for the town as a whole are less than last year. And this, per LaPorte County, is based on a report we received from the auditor's office, and it's enlarged in part due to the new deduction passed in the legislation for the 2% tax cap for properties. And those properties in the next year will receive a 6% deduction in the form of, breaks in their property taxes. So that is going to continue to increase in the next few years, and we're going to keep watching legislation. In part, due to this legislation is why we're going to work towards scheduling a workshop after this. But this budget also includes 4% raises. The growth quotient for this year for 26 was 4%, so we wouldn't want to go above that. To further talk about that, Form 4B in Gateway, which has all of the calculations, the way it's set up with the budget exactly how it is, we would be getting into our cash, dipping into cash by $50,000, mostly in the general fund. So ideally, there would be some more cuts that we would want to make in the general fund in order to pass a truly balanced budget. So meaning we are spending only the incoming revenues. We do have an administrative line with a large amount that is kind of extra budget. So that, that's factored into this budget as well. And we've already made some cuts in areas working through the budget. I think many of you are aware of many of those items, but things are going to be tighter than they were in the next few years. We also have increased costs for gas and electric and insurance. Our Anthem Health Insurance is predicted to go up by 12 to 15%, and then our town property and casualty could go up from as much as 7 to 10%. So if you were able to review the budget, I know some of you are on budget and finance, but those increases are already part of this budget that we notice on the higher end, with the hopes that we can cut it back even more and we can find out what those final insurance numbers might be. It's usually after the budget, but so hopefully they will come in a little under what we've been told they might be, but we will see. So what else? So we will keep working on, this is that first reading, and it's what we noticed, and it's higher. So if you have any questions before you vote on it, please let me know. And I know Trista's online if you have anything to add, since you're here.
You have anything to add, Trista?
Yeah, for tonight, Meg did a good job summarizing the current issues and the things to discuss at the workshop. So I would just remind you, please, to open, when you're finished here with your council conversation, to open the public hearing in case someone in the audience does have comments on the budget, and then close that yet before your council meeting is over.
Thank you.
Is this comment time?
Sure.
So I think, oh, no.
I think that you can open the public hearing, let those speak for and against, close that, and then you can
Okay.
consider the first reading and those comments. Not that you can't do them before, but that might move it along.
Okay, we'll open the public meeting.
Public hearing.
Pardon me?
Public hearing.
Public hearing, I'm sorry. And we'll ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak for it or against it. Seeing none, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to speak for it or against it? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Now, Anita, you may ask your question.
It wasn't a question. I just want to reiterate a few things that Trista and Meg talked about at the budget meeting. I just think that it's important that, Trista, you talked about weathering the storm and about being careful with the budget. And I think that that's important. And you also Meg talked about making sure that department heads are careful with the next 4 months of the year, September, October, November, December. And I think you've made it clear that you're asking department heads to cut their budgets by 20, keep their budgets cut at 20%. I mean, you talked quite a bit, and the budget you've worked hard at the budget, but you've made it very clear that there is a storm coming, and not just the next year, but over the next couple of years. And we have to figure that out, and hope the lobbyist and you will keep your ears to the ground and just be careful. So I appreciated that advice. So thank you.
Pardon me? Yes.
Chris Gibson, who we've had for
Chief,
6 years.
yes, and Chief and I have a Zoom meeting to discuss this with him on Wednesday. Thank you.
To some of Meg's earlier points, she did a great job outlining, both she and Trista, the work that they have put in, along with the department heads and the council members that sit on budget and finance. We've made reductions in our motor vehicle highway fund, the amount of salt that we're purchasing. We've been very blessed to have some mild winters in recent years. So we have some salt in reserve. So we've cut back, the amount that we need to fund, hopefully into the future. But then there's those unknowns. If we have a horrible winter this next year, then we may have to come to the council at some point and ask for an additional appropriation. Those are just some of the unknowns. Healthcare last year for 2025, we were told would be a 10% increase. And we saw a 2% decrease. So there's those unknowns we just don't know until the town council's provided some of this information into the future. And then, for instance, on the police department side, we used to have a clerk that worked on Saturdays. a part-time clerk. We have eliminated that employment position to save funding in the police department budget. So every department has done a great job of trying to make cuts, understanding that we have work ahead of us. We'll weather the storm as we have always in the past. It just means we have to watch things a little bit closer. And I'm very confident the department heads we have will be able to accomplish that.
It's something as simple as lightning that hit the booster station and the deductible is 10,000. So file that, but that'll be 8,000. So, what if that happens to something a couple of times? So, you have to watch out. You have to go to the podium, Dave. Yes, you do, to ask a question for our Zoom people.
What?
No, we
No,
closed
we
it.
closed the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
So we would look for a motion to approve the budget on the first reading.
I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we need to schedule a council budget workshop prior to the final reading of the budget. The final reading will be October 13th, right?
Correct? At the council meeting, correct?
Hold on, let's see.
But wait, the budget
And-
can we all go together?
We can all go together.
October 13th, yes, is the council meeting.
Yes.
Can we do it before the council
Yeah, we
meeting?
have to do it before the council meeting because we have a second reading at the council.
Right, I meant before the day of the council,
I,
Oh,
6 o'clock
Trista, do we want it? I think we need it
before.
sooner than that.
Okay.
Because we've got to have the budget finalized by the council meeting and we need to talk through a few of these items. They had thrown out the idea of prior to the council meeting, but
I mean, it would be manageable, but a little challenging.
Let's do that.
One of the forms in Gateway has to be populated so that you all may sign it most easily at the meeting. It can be populated post-meeting, but then you'd have to come back to town hall within 5 days to sign it. So preferably a workshop, at least a few days ahead would be probably more efficient for everyone.
Meg, do you and Trista want to come up with a couple of dates and times and is that an easier way to do it?
we can do that. Does anybody have a restriction on daytime hours coming
No.
up?
no.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that then. I'll email tomorrow and then we can set,
Maybe put a couple of them that work for you and Trista and Chief or, yeah, and then let's pick one.
sure. I will do that.
Just-
Thanks.
Just
Okay.
as a quick suggestion, the budget finance meeting normally would be on the 7th at 11. Might be an easy spot to plug, but
That worked for me.
lets you handle your scheduling.
That would work for me.
That works for me.
Does anyone have a conflict?
No, I can do it. Day of the week is it?
It is Tuesday,
Chief
October.
Swistek can't do it.
You can do it without.
Could we change the time or just that day is no good?
I'm out that week till the 9th.
Okay.
What date are we talking about?
Talking about
October
October
7th.
You're out that week. Okay.
I could do the following week.
No, because the council meeting's the
Oh,
13th.
yeah, that's
We
right,
could
yeah.
try,
Week before.
What about the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd? Maybe if you and Trista look at your calendars for one of those 3 dates and let everybody know. Would those hopefully work, the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd?
mhm.
Yeah, those are
Okay.
fine.
Okay, we'll send those out tomorrow and we'll settle on one. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have resolution number 2025-0010, approving transfer of misapplied opioid settlement revenues to the proper funds.
Yes.
I don't really know what this is
So
about.
I can explain. So we received some revenues, if you will, from opioid and they can be spent on certain things. And we have not chosen a way to, well, Mark has ideas on how to spend it. So we can start spending at any time, and we're going to need to discuss that next. But in a nutshell, the dollar amounts on the resolution, more than likely, and I wasn't able to confirm the date, but when these two amounts were received, they were put into the Law Enforcement Continuing Education Fund. I believe that the funds for the opioid restricted and unrestricted, we have two funds in our ledger, and these amounts, the totals in those funds need to match what the state has actually given us from the opioid pandemic. So we're simply taking these two amounts out of Law Enforcement Continuing Education and putting them into the correct opioid fund. And I believe they were, again, placed in there simply because those funds were not created at the time, or it was just an error. I believe these are back from 2022. Okay.
Okay,
So
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And then just to follow up, we can, I did speak with Mark, and I think Trista can add, but we have to do reporting on this. I do, and just completed it, which is why we found this. And if we decide to spend some, so Chief had mentioned that we could use AED pads as one thing that we need to purchase. So Trista, do we actually need a committee to make that decision?
It's recommended that you do. The committee could be those of you sitting at the table right now. You could include some mental health professionals, some healthcare professionals, addiction specialist, expertise type backgrounds. The unrestricted funds, which are the ones that you currently possess, can be spent on any governmental purpose. So it is not meant in the settlement language from the opioid settlements that the AG's office has done with Big Pharma that your spending is restricted simply to the addiction from those drugs. The separate fund, the restricted fund, which is meant to be directed toward the addiction, because the amounts that you receive are less than $5,000 a year for that fund, the county gets to keep them and is then to use them on your behalf in these more directed purposes. So you saw, Megan, the annual report back to the state, what was it, Health Social Services Agency. They asked if you had a committee. So there needs to be someone, but it could be the five of you council members. It doesn't have to include necessarily a community member.
How much funds are we talking, like approximately?
About 4,000 or so.
You don't have to, I just.
Actually, it's about 3,000 or so over the life of it thus far.
Mm-hmm.
And Trista's actually put together a schedule that she just did, so I can even distribute that so you could see what is expected in the next few years.
That's okay. I mean, you can, but I just wanted just a general idea.
Just to give the council an idea, with the AEDs that we use, CPR, the AED pads, every time we use them, are about $75 for a set of pads, and the batteries run a couple $100. I think this year alone, we've already expended approximately $500 and some on AED pads. So that was one of the ideas that we had for using some of the funds for.
Can we make that decision tonight? I know you said, Trista, we can, and then
Yeah, I would just kind of maybe Joy and Chris, you could advise. Joy could identify that this is the committee. You have approximately $1,400 in the restricted fund because you did receive that money the very first year before the legislation was changed for the county to get to keep the rest. And then in the unrestricted fund, you you have $1,700. So on average, moving forward, because this lasts through 2038, you have just over $500 a year on a levelized scale that you could spend, or you could spend it all now and wait for money to come next year. So that's really up to you, but
Well, my recommendation is, given that I think everybody needs to be more well-informed, that you just approve this resolution and then
Come
maybe
back to it.
Chief and Meg and myself can put together and recommend something for next, unless there's some pressing need to spend the money.
No.
No. Okay, thank you. Water Department, new truck request, 2026. I thought we did.
Yes, Joy,
Believe they did,
made the
yes.
motion and I seconded.
Water Department, new truck request, 2026 F-250, 3 quotes for review.
On the 5-year capital expenditure plan for the town, there is a new operations truck for the water department in 2026. The water department is requesting permission to order a 2026 Ford F-250 4x4 Super Cab truck for their daily operations. We have secured 3 quotes from 3 independent dealers. The reason that we are requesting permission currently to order this truck is due to the ongoing uncertainty in the automobile industry as it relates to future tariffs in 2026. Most importantly, we are wanting to take advantage of the current government bid assistance concession, which is a discount of $6,538 off the MSRP price of the truck. It is unknown at this time if those discounts will continue into 2026. If we were to order the truck in the following month, it is anticipated that we would receive the truck in the first quarter of 2026 at the earliest. The capital plan for this request is for a total of $65,000, which includes the cargo box and other accessory items that will be needed once the truck arrives. The 3 quotes that we have received at this time are from Graf Ford dealership for $52,522, Michigan City Ford dealership, $53,302, and lastly, Bloomington Ford, $55,080. It is the recommendation of the Water Department Superintendent, and also Budget and Finance met on Tuesday, September 2nd, reviewed the quotes and approved the purchase at their advisory level to recommend to the town council tonight that we move forward with allowing the Water Department to order from Graf Ford dealership the 2026 F-250 truck for the sum of $52,522, with the understanding that the total expenditure shall not exceed $65,000 for this capital expenditure once completed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has at this time.
I think your last sentence refers to the 2014 F-250 with the plow will be sold. And
At
I think
public
you
auction.
mentioned possibly 5,000 to 8,000 coming back for that, possibly. It's in rough shape, but possibly. So there's money coming back. And this has all been in the capital plan, so it's all within or slightly under budget.
Making a motion.
And I will make a motion to approve the Water Department truck request, the 2026 F-250.
I'll second that. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Salt Barn Engineering.
All right, just to clarify, that's for the graph quote.
Correct. Graf
Thank you.
was the lowest quote received.
Thank you.
Yep. And I will forward copies over once the order form is completed as well.
Thank you. Salt Barn Engineering proposals.
For about the last year, our salt barn replacement for the storage of our road salt has been on the capital expenditure plan, also in the 5-year plan. Originally, We were hopeful that this cost estimate would come in under $100,000. However, with the cost of inflation and engineering and other things that we have found, this project will exceed $100,000. Therefore, we had consulted with our building commissioner, Larry Wall, and had asked if this particular project needs to have state certification as a municipal building or a facility. Even though it doesn't have occupancy and is simply storage of our road salt, we have been informed that we will need to submit the design and engineering for our salt barn to the state of Indiana, which is about an 6 to 8 week process to have the blueprints state stamped, to have their seal of approval before we can even move forward with getting bids for this salt barn. So originally we thought that we could get by with just having a couple of the pole barn specialty companies and or contractors draw up some basic design, roof trusses, other specifications for the building. Unfortunately, we cannot. We have to hire a civil engineer, a structural engineer to draw these up. So therefore, we solicited 2 bids. We have one bid from Wright and Associates LLC in the sum of $9,400. And the second quote that we received from L4M Architecture was in the sum of $14,800. Both of these proposals were shared with the town council for their review prior to tonight's meeting. And after review of the proposals, and after speaking with our street superintendent, it is our recommendation to the council that we move forward with the proposal and engage Wright and Associates LLC, asking that the town council president, upon a vote tonight, sign that contract so that we can begin the design and engineering of the salt barn, hopefully to commence construction in the spring of 2026 at the earliest. And then we'll have future information shared with the council as far as cost estimates related to the construction of the building, the concrete that'll be needed for the building. And then obviously this would also be contingent upon a building permit and approval by the Long Beach Building Department.
Okay, I would make that motion to approve the engineering proposal of $9,400. I forget the name, right?
Right.
Wright and Associates.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Clarification of section 1C in the stormwater ordinance 2026-06. This was just our stormwater ordinance requires that the 3 of us have staggered terms, and we weren't set up that way. So we are now set up with staggered terms. The 3 of us, one has a 1-year, one has a 2-year, and one has a 3-year term. I don't think we need to vote on anything on that.
So the ordinance needs to reflect that, right? The ordinance needs to reflect this, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I will send it. I'll work with Chris.
Okay, new business. Haas and Associates recommendation for pay application number 4 to Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc., $64,423.85 on the 2024-2 improvement project. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Haas and Associates invoice number 2024374-02 for payment approval, $5,835 regarding the Lakeshore Drive conceptual design for repaving.
I'll make a motion to approve that one also.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Haas and Associates invoice number 15 for payment approval, $15,861.10 regarding the 2024-2 CCMG.
Might as well keep going with this. I'll make the motion to approve invoice number 15.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? This morning, we did a future Lakeshore Drive paving project walkthrough on Lakeshore Drive. I'm going to let Chief talk about it.
So this morning, the council president, myself, street superintendent Tom Dolph, resident John Wall, who has a career in the paving industry and is a Long Beach resident, along with Sam Jose from Haas Engineering. We had conducted a walkthrough of Lakeshore Drive from stop 13 to stop 31 to discuss the future paving project. We know this will be a multi-year project utilizing state funding through the motor vehicle highway grants through the CCMG grants. Those grants have now changed somewhat, where there used to be 2 applications per year where communities, towns, and cities could apply to the state, and you could apply for up to $1.5 million on 2 separate applications a year. The state has now changed that for 2026. There is 1 application per year, has to be submitted in the month of July, and the maximum that any community at this time can apply for is $1 million. Larger cities, it's a 50-50 match, 50% to the city, 50% will be given to you from the state. They have changed the percentage for small communities such as our community. It used to be a 75-25% match, which meant for every $1 million, we would have to come up with $250,000. That has now changed to an 80-20 split. So we'll have to come up with $200,000 on every $1 million of this project. However, you cannot include engineering cost. That falls back onto the communities to pay for the engineering work. Currently, we have a $30,000 agreement with Haas Engineering, of which you heard part of that was approved tonight for the $5,835, their invoice for the conceptual design. They have provided us with documents that has been shared with all the council members, which has a street level map. It has projected cost estimates for various steps in this project, from simple milling and re-asphalting all the way down to reconstructing the road all the way down to the base and rebuilding Lakeshore Drive. As we walked Lakeshore Drive today, we found in some areas the road width was as narrow as under 18 feet, and in some areas was as wide as 21 feet, I believe.
Did one spot at 25 feet.
Oh, that's true. In one small area, we actually did get to 25 feet.
But most of them are around 18 and a half feet.
Yep. The industry standard, according to the engineers, for most highways, interstates, roadways is 12-foot lanes. So we should have about 24 feet out on Lakeshore Drive. We do not have that. Neighborhood community roads sometimes get as narrow as 11 feet wide roads for 22 feet. So our objection is we're going to have to approach some homeowners along Lakeshore Drive, quite a few actually, the whole entire length, letting them know that at some point this council is going to have to make a decision. Are we going with the 2 11-foot lanes, or are we going with 2 12-foot lanes? Our recommendation out of today's meeting, as it stands with a preliminary discussion that we had, would be to maintain a 24-foot width all the way across Lakeshore Drive, 2 12-foot lanes. Reasoning for this: we do not have a pedestrian path. We do not have a bicycle path. We have people that love to walk their dogs, walk, exercise, bicyclists, just overall pedestrians that are commingled with vehicular traffic on Lakeshore Drive. And as narrow as it is now, it's a safety concern. So therefore, if we were to go with 2 12-foot lanes, 24-foot width across Lakeshore Drive, we feel that this would improve the overall safety for our community's residents and visitors alike, and that for the traveling public as well, would allow for easier navigation of Lakeshore Drive. As we see today, as we walked it, we were yelling at people, asking them to slow down. We were dodging cars, and we were in reflective vests with a police vehicle with flashing lights on it. And it was quite challenging at times. So President Schmidt got an eye opener today as she spent several hours out there walking it. We will continue to share documentation with the council. We will continue to be transparent in these community meetings, sharing information with the community. And at some point, it is our recommendation that we will host a workshop for the community before these final decisions are made by the council, I believe. I don't want to speak for Joy, but that was kind of our original thought, was to have a workshop allowing input from the residents, and then the council will make the final determination once they have received all this information. Best guess at this time is we would apply for July of 2026, hopefully receive grant funds in September 2026 at the earliest, and it's a very short window. We could be paving at the fall of 2026, or the earliest paving would be the spring of 2027, would be our first phase of multiple phases along Lakeshore Drive. The plan is to start at stop 13 in the west and work our way to the east. Stormwater improvements will also be made along the way. We will install pavement markings along with this project to include double center lines, no fog lines. Pedestrian crossings will be installed at all of our beach stops. Those will be clearly marked. All intersections with stop signs will have stop bars painted on the pavement. And it is also recommended at this time, and will be considered in the future, as you enter into Long Beach. Currently, the only coming from the west, the only stop sign is at Turner Court in Michigan City, which is approximately stop 7. Once you enter Long Beach at stop 13, your first stop sign is stop 20. We get a lot of complaints about speeding from 13 to 20, so the police department's going to be recommending at stop 16, we consider putting in a pedestrian crossing and a stop sign at 16. So you would stop at 16, 20, 22, and then 24, and then forward. So that's another recommendation we'll be making, and that'll come up during the workshop as well in the future. So that's just some of the things that preliminarily came out of the discussions today. Again, multi-year project, several millions of dollars to complete the project. We'll have a better cost estimate once the information that was discussed today is updated by Haas Engineering, and that'll probably be shared with the council before your October meeting. I would recommend probably that we keep the Lakeshore Drive paving project under old business, probably moving forward, so we can give updates each month. Any
Suggest if you take President Schmidt out on the road again, that maybe you have her wear heels or something.
Yeah, that won't happen.
She got her steps in today.
It's going to be an enormous project. And some trees are going to have to come down, Ellen. I don't know how to break this to you. Yeah.
Honestly, there was only a handful of them. There wasn't that many. We thought there would be much more. And also, just for information, it sounds like the last time Lakeshore Drive was paved was 95, 97. So we're looking at almost 30 years ago that roadway's been paved. So this is a major undertaking, one of the premier roads in the community. And we just want to make sure that we do it right, so it will last, another 30 years.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, actually. I don't think it's going to be as painful as we thought for Lakeshore Drive residents. Okay, thank you. LBPD policy number 29, town social media.
We started this conversation about a month ago. We consulted with our town attorney. I've spoke to several police chiefs across the region as well. And other law enforcement agencies have taken on a similar type of policy as it relates to their social media sharing of information on social media platforms. So if I could just take about a minute or two here, This is the policy in its entirety. It is policy number 29. It is the town social media. The purpose, this policy establishes the guidelines for disabling public comments on all posts made to the Long Beach Police Department and the Town of Long Beach Town Hall official Facebook pages. This action is taken to maintain the integrity of communications, ensure information is disseminated without misinformation, and prevent inappropriate or unproductive discourse. Effective immediately, the comment function will be disabled for all posts on the Long Beach Police Department and Town of Long Beach Town Hall official Facebook pages. This measure applies to all new and previously published content. This policy applies to all personnel responsible for managing or posting content on the department's official Facebook accounts. The rationale. The decision to prohibit comments is intended to prevent the spread of misinformation and inappropriate language, maintain focus on official announcements and public information, protect staff from harassment and targeted negative interactions online. The procedures. All social media administrators will ensure that comments are disabled prior to publishing any post. Existing posts with active comment sections will have comments disabled as soon as practicable and archived. Questions or concerns from the public will be redirected to official communication channels, including by telephone or by emailing or in-person inquiries. Enforcement failure to comply with this order may result in administrative action. And that concludes the policy. One of the reasons I've seen it all too often here, people are posting from fake accounts. They're hiding under identities that are not true. There's some very rude and negative commentary that is out there. There's a lot of spread of misinformation. And then just the engagement of other individuals that then become confrontational with others on Facebook, to me, it's inappropriate. It's dysfunctional. We're going to continue to be transparent. We're going to continue to share information. Whether we share a post about an officer's 10 years of service to the department, we're still going to leave the comment section closed off. As much as we'd like to see the positive things come in, I've been told by other departments when they pick and choose which posts that they leave the comments open for, that once they open it up on something maybe related to an anniversary on a department, the prior posts, the people then bring in the negative comments. So we just feel, to be consistent, we're just going to across the board disable the comments, continue to be transparent, continue to ask people to email us, call us in person. We want to engage with the community, but we do not want to be subjected to all the negativity and just blatant, rude commentary that's out there. So that's kind of our rationale of wanting to do this.
I agree 100%. I would move to approve your policy.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I agree. Great idea.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got the Tower Point cell phone tower lease buyout.
Again.
Yeah, we looked at this last year and Chief and I were just gonna bypass it this year, but I wanted to make sure you guys all had some input, but I feel the same as I did last year.
Same. I'm a no.
No.
Same.
So I would move that we do not accept this proposal from Tower Point.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, claims approval, Meg.
Town checks numbers 21905 to 21986 totaling $922,326.48. Water checks numbers 55382 to 55405 totaling $151,261.06. and August payroll of $124,198.78. I would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any council comments? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 8:54.
Thank you, everyone.